Hey there, Gemini. Welcome to your reading for the week of April 11th. We are just going to jump right in here, Gemini, and see what is going on for you. This will be part 1, and there will be a part 2 linked up in the description down below. But let's see what we have going on for you at this time. I don't read reversals, and that Six of Swords came out in reverse, but let's see here. You have this Ascendant card kicking off the reading, and that card says entrance on it, so definitely could be like a new beginning, of course, coming in for you here. But this is your first card, this Ascendant card, some sort of new beginning. I do feel like some of you are having a new beginning. You have the Six of Swords, and the Six of Swords can represent needing to move towards the other side, getting through the choppy waters. It's funny, in the reverse, the Six of Swords is like being stuck in the mud. It can say that you are stuck in the mud. And the interesting thing is that you have this moth spirit, it says surrender now on it. And so when the Six of Swords is in reverse, what do we have to do? We have to lighten the load. There are some things usually that we have to release. Imagine if you were in a boat and the water was only this shallow, right? If you had a bunch of stuff in the boat, you'd be stuck in the mud. You'd be weighing yourself down, right? If you start throwing stuff overboard, then you're going to kind of be able to break free from the mud. And that's the whole point of the Six of Swords, is that this mother and the child, they are only going to the other side with the clothes on their back. They are sacrificing everything, their entire life, for the hopes of a better future. I do feel like some of you have been either thinking about doing this or that's what you are doing. And again, there might be some things that are holding you back at this time that are preventing your success. And so I would look at those things, if there is something in your life that is preventing your success. Like sometimes it might be like an addiction, or it might be, this isn't a card of addiction, but it might be an addiction. It might be too much Netflix. It might be playing too many video games. It might be too many, chocolate eggs. That's my weakness during this time of year, Easter, right? So it could be anything, right? And I feel like this is saying I'm like a hummingbird, right? I just like to eat sugar, but it's not good for me, right? And it weighs me down. It makes me fat and stuck in the mud. So no more chocolate eggs for Chris. But what I would say is that the Six of Swords is saying move on to calmer shores. It's like saying there is a brighter, better future. And even the Temperance card also says the same thing. There is a glowing crown in the background here, and it represents the path to glory. And a lot of you, it's kind of like saying a change needs to happen for you to be able to get to this crown, to take the path to glory. It's a card of transformation, and this card just says something needs to transform. I really feel this reading is saying that gaining a new perspective is also going to be very beneficial for you. We're going to talk about that when we get to the Two of Wands here at the end of your reading, because I feel like that's what it's talking about. I feel like it's saying gaining a new perspective. Next, you have the Page of Wands. Part of me, I do kind of feel like this is new love coming in for you. If you're looking for love, could be a fire sign. You also have Earth here. Could be any sign. This is a general reading, but Earth and fire definitely stand out to me in love. But I do feel like there could be new love coming in for you here. Page of Wands, very exciting, new energy as well. And if we go this way, right? If we go Page of Wands, Four of Wands to the Two of Wands, this diagonal, this to me says you are getting ready for a new adventure. You're getting ready to do something differently. Again, the thing is that next you have this moth spirit, which says surrender now. So there's clearly something you need to let go of with this card. It's reminding me that like sometimes I feel like we hold on to something, and by holding on to it, it's like we're not freeing up our hands to grab onto something else. And I kind of get that feeling for you here with the Six of Swords and this card right here, is it's like you could be holding on so tightly to something that you're not able to grab onto something else that's like much, much better. So I feel like I wouldn't really call this a moving on reading, but I do feel like it's a release reading where you're releasing something from the past. Again, I feel like the Two of Wands is probably your most important card here. And I feel like that Two of Wands, we're going to talk about it, but it can be about releasing something from the past as well. You have the Five of Swords here, letting go of something. So, I really feel this is saying if something is keeping you, stuck in the mud, it's time to let it go. You have the Five of Swords, the Four of Wands, and the Ace of Pentacles. The Five of Swords is about kind of releasing something from the past. It is a card of kind of, it can represent loss, a separation. It can also represent winning at all cost or trying to win at all cost. I think that's the biggest challenge for you right now, Gemini, is wanting to win with the Five of Swords, but needing to not win. And what I mean by that is I'm not saying you're a loser or anything like that, but it's like sometimes I feel like we want to be right so badly about something that we just hold on to something too tightly, right? Where it's like we don't want to give up. We don't want to let something go. But I kind of get the feeling that's exactly what needs to happen in a situation. But again, this is very specific. Number one, tarot doesn't control your life, right? So I'm a big fan of not giving up on something. But what I would say is this, to me, is giving me the vibes of cutting your losses. And what I'm saying is, if you've been holding on to something for too long and it's just going nowhere, I feel like it's time to be honest with yourself and say, this is going nowhere. It's time for me to move on, right? Plain and simple. And I'm stuck in the mud. So if you can do that, I feel like you'll be setting yourself free. What I would say is, like, if there's something you don't want to give up on, I would just give yourself a limit. I would say, I'm going to put this much more energy into this. And if it works out, great. If it doesn't, then I'm going to move on to the next thing. I just feel this energy of kind of like spinning my tires on this Five of Swords and wanting to be right so badly that you could be getting lost again in the mud. And so I would just make sure you're not doing it. Again, not a bad reading. Again, like I said, I don't like to encourage, I'm not encouraging you to give up on something. I'm all about kind of, pushing through obstacles and barriers and accomplishing something great. But I just feel like this is kind of like saying, something is over. It's time to go to the next step is what I would say there. I hope that makes sense. Again, you have the Five of Swords, Four of Wands, and the Ace of Pentacles. I don't know if I said that. Four of Wands is a card of freedom. It's like these people are celebrating on the other side of these wands, and they're calling you over to the other side of the Four Wands. They're saying like, hey, it's time to finish something up. This is like a finish line at the top of the Four of Wands there, and it's like saying, come through this finish line. It's time to finish something up, and it's time to come to the other side. It's time to be set free. Again, it's a card of freedom, so it's like you're being set free by letting something go. There's a much better new opportunity coming in for you here. So it's a pretty simple reading. Like I said, I feel like you're just moving on to an opportunity that's much more abundant, much more successful. That'll just be better for you in general. So I would move towards this Ace of Pentacles opportunity, basically. Next, you have this table card. It says hard work ahead. And you have this caterpillar. It says things will not always be this way. A change is coming. There you go. Clearly, there's some sort of change coming in for you here. I don't really feel bad about this for this table in general. The reason I said the word four is because I'm getting the word four pillars in my head. A table has four legs on it for the most part. I'm sure somebody's going to tell me about their, special Swiss made table that has 3 legs. Great. But for the most part, most tables that are stable have 4 legs, right? And I kind of feel that for you. Where it's like if you're working towards something, I feel like it needs 4 pillars, Maybe you only have 3 right now. I don't know. That might make sense to one of you out there. I would say especially, it's kind of popping into my head right now as a project. Like if you're working on a project, it's like maybe you have it, you're like, I'm going to start this YouTube channel, I'm going to have a blog, I'm going to have a Facebook page, but maybe you also need that 4th thing that's like a podcast or, an Instagram page or something else. Like I feel like something needs 4 for whatever reason. I don't know, that might make sense to some of you. Like I said, for others, I feel this is more saying that you're moving on to something new. And I feel like that the hard work is that you're just laying a foundation. King of Pentacles right here. And we're going to talk about that in a second. But sometimes the King of Pentacles, to me, he's a card of convention. He wants to build something that lasts forever, basically, right? And so in a lot of ways, sometimes I feel like he is talking about the foundational energy where you're building a foundation. You have the 2 of Wands, the 3 of Pentacles, and the King of Pentacles here. Again, he kind of represents that foundational, building a foundation type of energy. He's also highly skilled as well. He has these grapes all over his cloak, and the grapes in the tarot, they represent something that is like difficult or challenging to grow. And so he has a lot of skills. It kind of means that you have a lot of skills, Gemini, that could make you very successful. But again, I feel like you're kind of building a foundation. You have the 3 of Pentacles as well, another card of hard work. It's actually a card of quality work. He has done a good job building these 3 pentacles, right? He's followed the plans of these 2 people right here, and he's done a good job. So I feel like you are going to be doing a good job. The thing about the 3 of Pentacles is that it kind of says there's more. There's a fire triangle up here and a water triangle right below it right here. The fire triangle kind of represents the work that he's already done. The water triangle says there's like a cherry on top. There's something a little bit sweeter that he could add to a project, a business, or something he's working on. And again, I really feel like there's like a fourth pillar. That's the best way. I know that might not make sense to some of you, but it's like the best way I can explain it for you. And part of me feels like let's pretend that this is a relationship for some of you. I feel like this is kind of like saying there's like, don't be afraid to put in just a little bit extra work right into the relationship, especially if the person is matching energy. I always like to tell people, if the other person isn't matching energy, leave, plain and simple. But if you put in a little extra work, I think they will also put in a little extra work into the relationship. And so I feel like this is like the cherry on top. I feel like it's saying it's worth it. The Two of Wands really says something behind you is dead, done, over with, and you need to move on to something new. Again, I get this feeling that the reading is talking about being stuck in the mud, or something is stuck in the mud. For a lot of you, I do feel like this is work-related or business-related. If you have a job or a business, I feel like what you're doing, it's like things aren't terrible with that Six of Swords. I think things are okay, but I just get that feeling of lack of movement, lack of growth. I feel like things are becoming murky as well, or cloudy. So it's like you might have a business, maybe things are fine, but maybe there's no growth. Like things aren't moving forward. Things aren't progressing. They're just staying the same. It's getting a little stagnant, right? Same thing in work or business. And I feel like this Two of Wands is saying that you need to reach forward and grab this new wand here. He is standing at the top of a castle, and everybody, by the way, everybody's been getting this energy lately. I think it's because the universe is like saying, there's more. I feel like the universe wants us to expand right now because there's been such a restrictive energy. I always say that whenever energy is restrictive or whatever, I feel like the universe does the opposite. The universe is like saying, okay, now it's time to expand because we have to get out of this, right? So I feel like the universe is like saying, whatever you've been doing, work or business-wise, has been restrictive. There's a much better opportunity for you, which is really what I feel like this reading is saying. But you're going to have to see that things can be different. And that's what the Two of Wands is all about. He's standing at the top of a castle. I always say the story with him is that he has accomplished everything he wants, but he's rushed. He rushed to a finish line. He's looking out at the world in front of him, and he's saying, there's nothing more for me. There's nothing more for me to accomplish, nothing more for me to do. But he's got that whole world in his hands. If he were to just see that world that he has in his hands, he would see there's like a million opportunities for him. There's so much that he could potentially do, but he has to leave the castle. He has to go explore new lands. He has to go do different things. And that's what I feel like this reading is saying. So very interesting. I feel like with that ascendant energy, it's saying a new opportunity is kind of like, I see it rolling towards you, kind of like coming in into your life. So there's clearly a big new opportunity coming in for you, and we're going to see where this goes in part 2, which is linked up in the description down below.